Subscribe.
We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
Just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
So we haven't talked since our escapade at Citi Field. It's been a bit. How are you feeling?
I feel fine.
Your bodily function is operable?
I was operable. I just, for 2 days, my gut and intestines were just going through circles.
I will say this: I showed Kate a video that will eventually come out on our social. Just wrapping up a few transcribing things, and she was like, "You got chicken and fries too, you fat fuck." And I'm like, "Well, Ben tempted me. He got me into it."
I didn't get you into it. You just were like, "Oh, I'll do the same thing." I was like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah. By the way, Frank the Tank showed up at the Met Gala, and you will not believe what he wore.
Show me.
Actually, hold on. This is 1,000% a Photoshop photo. It has to be. There's no way this is a real photo. There's no shot this is a real photo.
It looks very fake.
And if it is, I'm amazed. And if it's not, incredible Photoshop job by whoever works at Barstool Sports. Because that actually got me so beat. That's amazing.
What do you want my opinion on?
Yeah, so the other thing I want to get into before we start, I heard a rumor about this back around the Masters time, and it was on my fucking microphone is all the way over here. Jeez, sorry for those of you who couldn't even hear me. I totally forgot that I had a mic. So I heard this rumor around Masters week, and they were like, "Oh, like Scotty's wife might go into labor, and he might withdraw, and yada yada yada." And I think it was Kyle Porter was like, a lot of these guys get a lot of perspective once they become fathers, and their games tends to dip off a little bit. Max Homa, it's happened to him. Jordan Spieth happened to him after his child. Do you think that now with the news that Scotty Scheffler is going to withdraw this week, now that Meredith should give birth, do you think that the turn of having a child and sleepless nights might lead to a bit of a rough patch, a hard stretch of golf, per se?
Well, look, I'm not a dad, so
I hope for every woman's sake that you aren't a dad just yet.
Okay, all right, Steve.
If I'm not ready to be a dad, you're not ready to be a dad.
I never said I was ready to be a dad, and I know for a fact you're not ready to be a dad because you couldn't even eat 9 hot dogs and keep pace with me. But anyway,
I'm gonna be a great father.
You will be.
Thank you.
Anyway, look, I mean, I think like his priorities are going to shift because that's more important. Is it a boy or a girl? Do we know yet?
We don't know. I think it's a surprise.
Okay. Well, regardless, his priorities are going to change because even if you're a professional athlete, your family always comes first, or it should always come first. I don't necessarily agree though with the whole thing because it's like people do the same thing with like getting married. It's like when Colin Morikawa got engaged, it's like, oh, he's gonna like fall off a cliff because he's getting married, and I just think like that, and like how people like, oh, when you have kids, like you're not gonna be as good. Like I think that's like a total load of crap. I really do, because I think it gives you a different perspective for sure. It makes you realize that golf isn't the most important thing. Because not only do you have a wife, but you also have a toddler, a baby, and to be honest, like I've heard plenty of stories that got guys who have had kids and they say it's like the best thing that's ever happened to them because they have because they because if you have a bad day on the course, little Jimmy doesn't care what you shot.
It's
Little
true.
Jimmy's just happy to see dad, And so I don't agree with like the stupid. I think it's so stupid how people are like, oh, he got married, he's gonna play awful. Like, I think it's so stupid.
I don't think it's a bad narrative to take because, again, like, and I haven't experienced this firsthand, but I know of cousins that are going to eventually have kids, and my mother, at least when I was younger, there are a lot of like sleepless nights as a parent, and it's tough particularly like when it's the first like 2 years. I went to go visit Kay's cousin who lives down in Alabama, and she has a 2-year-old bordering on 3, and then a 4 and a 6-year-old, and like it's a lot. Now, granted, it's 3 kids, it's triple trouble. But sometimes, man, like they have to get to a certain age where it becomes like, you know what, they're capable of like doing things on their own. They don't need constant supervision. They can kind of like you can leave them alone for 5 minutes in the house watching TV, watching Bluey, and it's all well and good. I think it's going to be tough for the first 6-7 months. I know we're probably not going to see Scotty in a lot of events that aren't the signature events. So definitely, you probably won't see him at like Colonial. Probably won't see him. Go see him at the signature events, but those other high level events that don't fall under the category this year, you probably won't see him. He may have to withdraw from a few. Doesn't mean his game's going to be any worse, but I do think that there's going to be a bit of a hiccup, at least getting back into the swing of things. He likely will not play a tournament after the PGA, probably for 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks. So we'll have to give him some time to get back into it. But I'm very interested in seeing how the narrative shakes out. Because again, like Jordan Spieth had a kid in 2018, game fell off. Max Homa recently had a child. We mentioned earlier in the year, top 15 machine. Then he became a dad, and it's teetered a little bit. He isn't quite the like top 15 consistent player that he was. He does have good events, probably two out of every 3. But there has been a bit of a hiccup, and even for Colin, right? You get engaged, you focus on the lady a little more, the game falls off a little bit. Then again, there's also mechanical issues with Colin that we can get into later on. But I think it's a fascinating concept.
I think it's unfair when people are like, well, you just had a kid, like your game's gonna fall off. Like, because I just feel like people like in a way it's like blaming the kid. And I think that's
No, I don't think anyone's blaming the child.
I hate the narrative behind it. I think it's like I know plenty of athletes who have been like, getting married and having a family has like been the best thing that happened in my career. Literally, they'll say that because it's not like the guy's like not going to practice. I'm sure he's going to take a little bit of time off, which is completely understandable. Like you should do that, But at the end of the day, like he's number 1 in the world by far for a reason. It's because he knows how to practice. That's one of the main things, and he's probably not going to get to practice as much, just like he's not going to get to compete as much. But that means that he's still going to be working on the things that he needs to work on, once he's able to start practicing. I laugh when like the media or even just like conventional people are like, Ben, once you get married, once you have kids, your golf's gonna go down the shitter, and it's just like that's not how it works. I think it's stupid. I just don't agree with it. So I mean, hey, maybe some other guys can actually step up and win a tournament like Rory. Like a real tournament. Because how many career wins does Rory have?
21, including the Zurich.
Well, whatever it is, subtract half, subtract 0.5 because that's what that is to me. That's not even.
Yeah, I actually forgot that you weren't on for last week's show. I gave him enough shit for his Mickey Mouse win with Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I'm just like I literally when I saw that he was playing that, I'm like he's gonna win. Of course he's gonna win. Like that's just how it's gonna be. So it's whatever. I think. He's anyway.
He has 25 PGA Tour wins, so really is 24.
24 and a half.
Yeah.
24
24.5.
Good for him.
And like the worst part is he had to win it in a playoff. Probably the worst playoff matchup like of all time. It's like David and Goliath, Rory and Lowry against Ramey and Trainer.
Yeah.
Martin Trainer's wife is more notable than he is. That's how you know the odds were stacked against.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
Taylor Pendrith knocks off Ben Coles for his first career victory on the PGA Tour. Brooks Koepka is looking for a title defense following a win at Live Singapore. And we'll break down the new Sunday Red collection and whether or not we are interested in buying the ridiculously overpriced gear from Tiger Woods. Hello and welcome into the Get in the Hole podcast. Stephen McAvoy and Ben Pirro here with you, recording on a Monday live from the Underground, a part of the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you can get a hold of us, bringing you all the news, analysis, and betting tips from across the golfing world, including the PGA, LPGA, Korn Ferry, and Live Golf Tours, proudly presented by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the industry, founded on Long Island and rep by some of the biggest personalities in sports, including Chris Hogan, Kyle Harrison, and Paige Sporanic. Tomahawk Shades is guaranteed to keep you looking fresh from the first hole to the 18th green and beyond. Head to TomahawkShades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app on the App Store or Google Play Store and browse their selections of sunglasses, blue light plus glasses, and prescription lenses. And be sure to use code USP for 25% off your next order. Again, code USP for 25% off your next order at TomahawkShades.com or on the Tomahawk Shades app. Also want to give a shout out to our friends over at PHI Apparel Co., our awesome merch partners. They provide unique designs and high quality clothing, from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. Ben, you have your Get in the Hole hoodie. I actually recently just ordered mine. I finally scrounged up the $30 in order to get mine, because God knows that every ounce of money that I have has gone to the wedding fund. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole in both your PHI Apparel Co. hoodie and your Tomahawk Shades. It's kind of a match made in heaven there. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab your exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support both Ben and I, particularly Ben on his quest to PGA Tour stardom. Taylor Pendrith leads off the show this week as he knocks off Ben Coles for the first PGA Tour win of his career. Wild 72nd hole, former KFT champion, actually two former Korn Ferry Tour champions, Pendrith from 2022 and Coles from last year. 72nd hole, Coles finds the bunker, duffs the bunker, makes bogey, Pendrith birdies, does a complete 180 in the standings, and Taylor Pendrith claims win number one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great event. I really feel for Ben Coles. I know this isn't his true rookie year on the PGA Tour. He's had a little fairly extensive history on tour. He has 60 plus starts. I think it's safe to say he's probably never been in a position like this on the PGA Tour, considering his previous stints on tour were not for very long. So you definitely feel for him for sure that this happened. I mean, it's definitely is tough to see. You never like to see someone bogey the last and lose, but on the flip side, Taylor went out there and he played great rounds of golf. I mean, you shoot 64, 67, 63, 67, shoot 23 under par. That's great playing. And, you know, it was the classic kind of 2-shot swing there on 18 where he made birdie and Ben made bogey. Again, I feel for Ben. I mean, that sucks. I think everyone's had kind of some sort of collapse on 18 in their career. I certainly have. But you know, when you make the little amount of mistakes that Taylor made, that is something that is incredibly difficult to beat.
Mhm.
And with something that we talked about in college golf, like I remember when I first got to Xavier, people before I say that people believe the best way to shoot low rounds is to just make a lot of birdies. And to some extent that is true, but there's a difference between you can make a lot of birdies, but you can also make a lot of bogeys and others. And that can be done with a very aggressive strategy, which generally is not how you should play golf. The people who have the most consistent success on the PGA Tour are those who make the least amount of mistakes.
Mhm.
PGA Tour average, for those of you who are wondering, Steve, what do you think the average number of birdies is on the PGA Tour per round?
Probably 2, maybe.
I think it's 3.5. It's like between 3 and 4.
Like scoring averages typically range around like high 69, low 70 typically.
Well, 69
guy.
in the world. If you average,
Yeah.
think about it this way: if you average 69 every single time you go and play golf on PGA Tour, you're the best player in the world, with
That's
the
true.
exception of like a couple years of prime Tiger, right?
Yeah, well, like you're shooting on average, what, 4 under par typically if it's par 72? It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And so in that case, all you need is 3 to 4 birdies around, right? And I'm just looking at just the basic stats from Taylor Pendrith, and I'm looking at his because he won.
Mhm.
If I said to you he finished tied for 15th in the field in birdies, you'd be like, all right, like probably had a pretty solid week, you
Yeah.
know, on not that demanding of a golf course, considering the winner shot 23 under par. He also ranked tied for 3rd in total bogeys. 3. And that's really the difference. Because when I got to Xavier, when I was recruited there, the coach believed, he was like, we need to make more birdies. That's how we're gonna shoot lower. Well, if you look at our scorecard was like there are a bunch of different shapes around the numbers, because we would be top of the field in every single tournament or near the top in every single tournament in birdies. But we were finishing 11th out of like 13, 14 teams.
Mhm.
Because we basically we nearly led every single event in others, in doubles and triples. And so, like I always say, like the key when you're playing golf, it's to limit the amount of mistakes. You don't need the fireworks, because when you need to rely on the fireworks, that's because you have to overcome stupid mistakes. Like that's why people were always like, well, Russell Westbrook is amazing because he has all these fireworks. Well, he had to have those fireworks early in his career because he was reckless when he played and he had so many mistakes. I know it's a different sport, but that's just how it is. It's just like how in baseball you have these guys like Javier Baez, who it's like so many, like incredible athlete, flair for the dramatic, like clutch player, huge hits. But he had to be that way because he struck out a ton.
Yeah.
You know? And so he wasn't consistent. And by the way, those two players have not aged well, have they? And it's no different in golf. Okay? And so when you're able to limit the amount of mistakes that you make, it's great to lead the field in eagles, which is what Taylor did. It's great to be tied for 15 in total number of birdies, I believe at 22. But when you make 3 bogeys in 72 holes, That's winning golf.
So what's crazy is too, and this speaks more to just the unluckiness of golf and the unfortunate realities that lie. You know who else was T3 in bogey avoidance this week?
Ben Coles.
Ben Coles.
Yep.
Each had 3 bogeys. The key factor is, and you bring up the Eagles, Taylor Pendrith had 2 rounds of a sub 65, which for reference on a par 71, you're shooting 6 under or better. That third round had back-to-back Eagles on the par 5 fifth and the par 4 sixth, dunks it on the par 4. So manages to go starting out a 1 under round, swings it all the way to 5 under. He shoots 8 under for the day. It just so happens that the only bogeys that Taylor Pendrith dealt with was a bogey in early on in round 4, and then in round 2 to make the weekend, bogey on 15, 17 to start off, and then 5 straight birdies on the back 9 to close out. So basically canceled out all of his issues. Same thing happened with Ben Coles. Just so happens that the one most crucial bogey to make happened to come on the very last hole, which again is just the unfortunate reality of how the way the world goes. And look, you know what? Plug lie in the greenside bunker simply didn't work.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
No, you're 100% right. And look, that's not necessarily a mistake on Ben Coles' part. That's just that's luck. That's
Exactly.
bad luck, really. That's terrible luck.
Well, it's the same thing. Sorry to cut you off. It's the same thing that happened to Scythe Theegala at the Travelers against Xander Schauffele. When you find your ball in a plugged lie 2 inches off the thick grass, right off the right off the green, what are you gonna do? You just try and chop at it, hope something happens, and you lose by a stroke in what could have been your very first win. Same thing here with Coles.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, those 2 guys, they made close to the least amount of bogeys in the week, and that's why they were in that position, And in Ben Coles' case, he just had some pretty terrible luck. But also at the end of the day, generally over 72 holes, that luck also does even out.
Yeah.
You will have generally, if you have 6 good breaks, you will have 6 bad breaks over the course of a 72-hole event. Generally, give or take maybe a couple, and especially over the year, that evens out over time.
Yeah.
And, just look at someone like, say, because I'm familiar with this player, I just picked Zach Johnson, who finished tied for 20th. Good week, 4 straight rounds in the 60s. Awesome. Moved up 14 spots in the FedEx Cup. He was, like Ben Coles, tied for 15th in birdies and was tied for 35th with 44 pars. The problem was that he had 6 bogeys. And just so you know, those 6 bogeys kept him out of a tied for second because he finished 16 under. Now, you're not going to go 72 holes without a bogey. It's never going to happen, right? But it just goes to show you that when you're in junior golf and college golf, you cannot make doubles. You can make bogeys. It's okay because everyone's making bogeys in college.
Yeah.
Everyone's making bogeys in junior golf. When you get to pro golf, you can't afford many bogeys. You cannot afford to bogey a par 5. You cannot afford to bogey a par 4 that's 420 and under. That's stuff you cannot afford to do. That's why 3 putting is so crucial. That's why getting easy up and downs is so crucial. That's why having high green and regulation percentage and not having penalties off the tee, all those little things become so much more important because the lines are so much more thin. So that was fun. I enjoyed that.
And let's be honest, no one, unless your name's Scotty Scheffler, is going to go 72 holes without a bogey. Although I think Scotty went, 7 straight rounds of golf without a bogey. Then again, it's Scotty Scheffler, so
But that's the other thing. When Scotty's case, he made that horrendous double on 10 in the 3rd round at Augusta, right? But he's so spectacular that he's able to overcome it. But just remember, that's not sustainable over time.
And also, what's crazy is too, and this is my last point. Considering and weighing your options, you wonder why golfers play so conservatively. 23 under wins you the event, but 1 bogey is so much more significant than 6 birdies. Really, when you kind of crank everything down, Ben Coles was as steady as a rock for 4 straight rounds. I think he shot 65 or 66 the whole way through. Just so happens that Taylor Pendrith manages to go low, sub 65 in 2 rounds, and manages to kind of squeak out. Same thing with Alex Noren, was as steady as a rock the entirety of the week. It's just one thing, and one low round can really push you over the top. So the U.S. Open field is still yet to be confirmed and set in stone, as we have open qualifying. But the good folks over at NBC have announced who's going to be in the booth for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. I want to get your opinion here on. We haven't had a lot of talk about the people commentating golf more than the actual players in the field. I actually really am interested in seeing what happens with this booth in particular, because we have our long-standing opinions on who should be commentating, who shouldn't be. Mike Tirico is going to be on with Dan Hicks, and then Brandel Chambly with Brad Faxon. Do you like Chambly? Like, do you think he's a good commentator?
To be completely honest, I'm really not familiar with his commentating work. I think that listening to him for years on Golf Channel, there are certain things that he says that I agree with, and then there are certain things that I just think are idiotic. Now, I say a lot of idiotic things, so, whatever. Everyone says idiotic things. We've all done it. But I think he'll be fine. I'm interested to see how critical he is of players.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm interested, because, he's like, especially in Tiger's case, and rightfully so, a lot of the things he's actually said about Tiger, I believe, are spot on. A lot of the things. And I'm talking more about the swing stuff. I'm only talking about swing. That's all I'm talking about. Like, I remember, like, he had like this whole, he was talking about how it was I want to find the interaction for you. I think it was at the PGA maybe. And Tiger was having this is back when Tiger was he still is having serious back issues. And Brandel literally dug up his numbers and was like, these are the differences between his numbers when he was like much younger with Butch, and these are his numbers now working with Sean Foley, I believe it was at the time. And like, his angle of attack was insanely different. He was hitting down on it so much. And a lot of it, and I remember Frank Nobilo was basically just trying to almost deny what Brandel was saying, even though Brandel literally had the numbers right there, and he literally schooled Frank Nobilo. It was actually pretty impressive. So, and he's been very critical of other players on tour for sure. I'm just interested to see how it goes from post-round criticism to in-round criticism, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got a big mouth, and he's not afraid to run it. He's not afraid to run it.
That's my concern, right? So the initial thought when they were figuring out who was going to be in the booth was you didn't want to have somebody who was going to be overcritical, particularly of live players. And you saw his colors come out. Brandel wasn't commentating Masters or anything, but you saw it in the pre-round coverage every day. I'd watch Golf Channel on end the whole weekend, and everything Brandel Chambly said was very negative to LIV. It was very much like John Rahm doesn't have it because of X, Y, and Z, or Dustin Johnson isn't doing this or because of his connection to LIV, or everything was just so anti. And then even when Bryson DeChambeau was the first round leader after day one, he still found a way to make a negative comment about Bryson's game, even though it was spot on for 18 holes. My concern as the journalist in the room, and somebody who, I made this comment about Sean McDonough last night watching the Rangers game. It's so evidently clear that he sounds almost annoyed that the Rangers scored goals. There's no optimism in his voice. There's no brevity in the way he goes about calling the game. And I know hockey's different to golf, but you need to have an unbiased opinion as someone who's commentating, particularly in the sense that you're not even representing a team in this case. Like, it's one thing to be the New York Rangers local commentator guy or Mike Breen calling a Knicks game. You're going to call for the Knicks. In golf, you need to have that level where you don't show favoritism. And I know Brandl's very much on board with the pro PGA Tour, ban live golfers forever. They can literally burn at the stake. That's where I'm concerned with. And I think that there's going to be a lot of pushback from his commentary partner to try and get him on board. And I just don't think it'll drive very well. I'm a little iffy with it.
I think that's great, because I didn't think about it from a journalist perspective, probably because I'm not a journalist. Regardless, I'll even take it a step further. I think I said this to you probably near Thanksgiving, Christmas time.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys, they're always on primetime games.
Yeah.
And who works for CBS? Tony Romo. And any good thing that a Cowboys player does, Tony Romo's like all over it.
Yeah,
exactly. But he never gets like that with any other team. And like, I get it. It's annoying. For sure. It's really annoying, because I'm just like, dude, like, you really did, like, as a Cowboy quarterback, you really actually underachieved. And now you're just like pandering to like the most underachieving franchise in like the last 25 years in the history of sports. Like, you are. And it's just annoying. Mm-hmm. And I do, in Brandl's case, and I'm not trying to when I say this, I'm not trying to cut him slack here, because I don't agree with what he says about LIV players. I think he's overly critical of them. And I agree with you when you say that. The deal with Brandl is that he's older. And I know a lot of older people in golf who are traditionalists, who hate the idea of LIV. I know people who are even older than Brandl who are like, they shouldn't be allowed back. And I'm like, let's just like pump the brakes. Okay. Like, it doesn't have to be so cut and dry. They made a decision to go, and they thought about it. They were rewarded with money, and they made the sacrifice to forfeit world ranking points. And if they come back, it's going to be the best thing for golf. It might not be the best for us, because we'll start running out of stories, because it's a lot of drama and it's a lot of fun to talk about, and it's always a talking point. But for the overall product, it would be great, especially for someone who works in golf production, like for Golf Channel. I feel like he shouldn't be as critical as he is.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, I get it. Like, Augusta, the Masters is a major. I get it. So, like, it's going to have more views. Could you imagine if like 0 LIV guys played?
Yeah, exactly.
The ratings would not have been what they were. And I'm not saying like none of them are Tiger Woods. Brooks Koepka's not Tiger Woods. Bryson isn't Tiger Woods. Dustin's not Tiger Woods. Louis Oosthuizen isn't Tiger Woods. But like, those guys are household names.
Yeah.
Who have had great careers, who have won a lot of money, who have won a lot of tournaments, and they're all major. A lot of them are major champions. Like, Brandl should. I agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I also don't agree with what he has to say about the golf swing in general, but that's another topic for another day.
The unfortunate reality is just that a lot of the older guys will always go anti-LIV, and it even happened. We were talking about battle with Faldo. He was like, "Yeah, John Rahm won't win because he wears shorts and he gets to relax."
Like courses. It's like, bro, like for like saying that, it's just like, dude, like, you're obviously a smart individual when it comes to golf, because you're as successful as Nick Faldo is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that if you're used to making birdies, which is generally what happens on those resort style courses, you actually have a better chance at playing well and shooting lower numbers, even if it's a harder golf course. Like, that's just that it's like the whole, it's like, and I know that's just like one isolated thing, but you're right. Like, I think both of us are right. Like, it's the older generation that is just like, they're way too rigid about it.
It's the grumpy old man at the country club who still believes everyone should wear pants 24/7.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's really stupid, and it's not like these guys did anything illegal.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
like it's not like they broke a law. It's like they were offered money to go somewhere else to work less. It's not that fucking complicated.
I'm shocked that he hasn't put any tweets out yet. He hasn't put any tweets out since the Derby on Saturday. Because Taylor Gooch got an invite to join the field at the PGA. So first of all, there will not be an asterisk at this major event, but also the fact that Taylor Gooch, the nationally hated Brandel Chambly hater, is going to be at the PGA. Oh, should be a quite the sight. Speaking of live guys, so I saw a great stat. Brooks Koepka, after winning the event he plays before a major in his career, has won 4 majors. 4 of his 6 have come immediately following the week of a win,
5.
including 5.
5.
Sorry. Does he have 6?
No, he has 5. 3 PGAs, 2 US Opens.
That was 6.
I'll bet you the $30 that you spent on whatever you ended up just getting, whatever you said you got before. Take the bet. Come on, take the bet.
I'm not taking your bet.
Darn it.
Okay, yeah. All right, so sorry. So 4 of his 5 have come the week following a win, which also includes the 2023 PGA Championship when he won. Where else but Live Singapore? I believe it was Singapore or it was Australia. It was one of the two. But now that Brooks Koepka has claimed victory in Singapore, he made the putter change to a mallet. We said, "What the hell are you doing?" The week of Augusta, it seems to have finally rained its head at Sentosa in Singapore. Do we think the repeat hopes are alive for Brooks Koepka?
I mean, look, he's repeated in US Opens. So
Get to happen again.
I mean, look, it's pretty well documented. Like, this guy's only really motivated for the majors. Like, this is like what he does. I heard a story about him from a source when he was on the PGA Tour. He played in the Honda when he was back then when it was the Honda Classic. He was bragging to, I'm not even going to say the caddy's name because he's a very, very well-known caddy. He was bragging to this player's caddy about how many beers he drank the night before and how just shitty he felt playing today. But he's not doing that those specific 4 weeks of the year. You just know he's not, right? So I think look with him, especially because this is an event that he's now granted, they change the course every year. It's not like Augusta, but he's won this event 3 times. And he's also won the US Open 2 times. We know what gets this guy going. It's major championship season. So
Now,
I could totally I'm not saying he's going to do it because I need to see the final field. I want to see the odds and everything.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you told me Brooks Koepka repeated as PGA champion, I'd just be like, I could see that.
So let's talk narratives, right? 2017 wins the US Open. 2018 wins the US Open, goes back to back, and that was when the PGA was played in August, then followed up with a win at the PGA in August. Goes back, now it's in May of the year, repeats at the PGA. Now wins his 3rd PGA. If he wins the 4th next week, technically, if you follow along, if you remember in music patterns, how in music beats kind of supersede each other or just patterns in general, US Open, PGA, PGA, that would mean that he should technically win the next 2 US Opens. If we're being realistic. Now, technically speaking,
he's a top 10 golfer of all time.
If that happens, if he goes US Open, PGA, US Open, I will literally drop dead. That will be the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So he gets Pinehurst this year, which also means, by the way, that he would win 2 majors, which again, he would repeat as being one of the only few guys that do that twice. Where's the US Open in 2025. Oh, yeah. All right. He can, first of all, his game is designed well enough that he can win at Pinehurst. He can win even more at Oakmont next year. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, Dustin Johnson won there.
Dude, if he manages to swing this, that would be he actually might be better than top 10 all time. He's already teetering with the 5 majors. That's fucking crazy. That's nuts. So we'll see if that happens. We'll talk more about that one next week, as he's most certainly all the way up on the odds board for everybody. I think he's currently 5th in the odds, which is no surprise because A, it's Brooks Koepka, and B, it's a major. But we'll talk more about that next week. On the other side, we'll chat about Sunday Red, the first drop from Tiger Woods' new collection, and the Wells Fargo preview. As Scotty's out of the field, we'll let you know who else is out and in this week. Talk on Earth, Ben and Steve here from the underground. It's Getting the Hole. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get in the Hole here with Steve and Ben. I don't know words. I am just losing my mind today as the Knicks are currently losing to Indiana. I'm trying to focus on 18 things at once. We're sponsored this second half of the show by Acorn Hills, bringing you stylish apparel from on and off the course, all using biodegradable packaging and plantable clothing tags. Acorn Hills is changing clothing through conservation. Use code GETINTHEHOLE, GITH15, for 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Again, that's 15% off using code GITH15 at acornhillsco.com, and look your best from the ground up. So I'm not sure if you've seen the new collection by Sunday Red. It's called The Hunt. It's a largely red collection with a few black pieces. Let me see if I can pull it up on their website. See if they have anything available. I know it's all sold out and it's been like going like hotcakes. Here actually we do have some images that we can work with. Let me pull this up. So for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to view the full collection of Sunday Red apparel that we have available here. So we've got some tees. Sorry, these are mock polos, actually, the classic Tiger Woods look, with a few logos, some polos here and there. We have some hoodies, bunch of pieces.
I'm sorry. How? $200 for what?
For a lightweight knit hoodie.
You're joking.
No, this has actually been a real like topic of conversation as of late. Is Tiger Woods' clothes? First of all, $135 for shorts is ridiculous. But is it really that crazy of a price when and look, I mean, I'm not buying this, nor are you, but you and I have both talked about wearing RLX polos, right? RLX is $110 for a polo, $100 for a pair of pants, $125 for a mock neck. I'm not first of all, I think the biggest thing that I don't like about Tiger's clothing brand is that it should literally be called Sunday Red, not Sunday Red.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I still don't comprehend the point of that. I don't like the design and the ribbing of the polo. That's just not my vibe. The hoodies are cool, but for $135, why would I spend that kind of money? Or $200 for the knit? It's supposed to be some crazy knit active wear that he's trying to sell. I don't really understand what it is.
Look,
but
I will say the stuff looks cool. I think instead of saying Sunday Red, I think it should be what you said, Sunday Red, or without the space, or just the Tiger logo that he's using. I think the logo itself is clean. Yeah. I really do. I think it's a great logo. I don't know, man. Between the price and I'm not in love with the logo. Doesn't the stuff that he wears, doesn't it have the Tiger stuff? The Tiger
it
logo?
Depends. So yeah, it's a little bit of both.
I feel like he should, whoever's doing this should just make the Tiger the logo, and then maybe on the and put that here because it looks right underneath the collar,
yeah.
the neck. That's where they so that's where they like to put it. It's put the Tiger here, and then on the back, like if it's a collared shirt, put it underneath the collar, or if it's like a mock, put it like, I guess technically right underneath the collar, then you put Sunday right on the back. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
without space. I think that would be cooler. I think the stuff looks good. I just don't know about the number one. The price is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think the design of the logo, I think it's like, I know like this might sound cliche, but like part of what makes Nike is that it's like the swoosh. Like that's a trademark. That's a everyone knows like the swoosh has like swag. If you wear Nike shoes,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's way more, you have more swag. I think the logo has something, is a big reason why people wear certain things. And I don't know. I just don't, I'm not a big fan of the logo.
Yeah, no, I think the overall, first of all, the price I think is ridiculous. There are certain things, and like you see videos on TikTok, or you're buying the brand of the product, and like Grayson, you're buying the brand. Like it's $135 for joggers. No one in the space really makes joggers. Like Red Vanley tries to, they're not very good. I like Puma came out with like cold weather joggers. No one's really making joggers per se in the space. Bespoke brands are like Primo, who's sponsored by Grant Horvat, like they're making them, but again, those are smaller time companies. You're not looking at the big guys. Polos, like again, personally, I like RLX. They fit me well. I also like Stitch. They have the buttons under the collar. No free ads to any of these guys, but like
Peter Millar, Johnny
Peter
O.
Millar, but I'm not. But like there are certain things that like you spend $90 for a polo. You don't spend $135 for a Tiger Woods polo, even though the claim is, and he went on Fallon and was talking about it, like, oh, I made it because it's stuff that I want to wear, that I'm endorsing it myself. It isn't Nike making things and having me wear it. It's like I'm involved in the design process. This is what I think is comfortable for a golfer, and like athleisure wear. I'm still not paying $200 for it.
Well, he also, Tiger's always been, even when he was with Nike, he was always involved with the design.
Design, but the actual materials and fabrics that are being used. What I'm saying, like things.
I'm sure he had a say in what he was wearing. He's Tiger Woods.
There are like players edition apparel that like only the players get. That's like specially designed, but I mean, the materials don't really change for the most part. What you see that Tiger's wearing is what you're going to buy in the store.
Well, yeah.
There really isn't there isn't much of a difference. That's what I'm saying. Like, sure, the designs that he wears, yeah, he's probably involved in that. But the actual creation of the materials that are being used, this is all Tiger stuff. Like he's tried them all on and he's worked on it. And he's figured out what he wants to sell, and not for nothing, the price has probably premium materials. So like, fine, good. But again, $200 for a hoodie is ridiculous. I can buy a Peter Millar hoodie for $140 and it's as good, I would say. So that's the way that I view it. But hey, you know what? It's all sold out instantly, and everything's now up on the resale market for like double, triple the price, and people are paying it. It's Tiger Woods. But I'll be happy buying all the clearance Nike stuff because I can do that. The Wells Fargo this week, the next signature event on the calendar. A couple of updates for you, Ben. Out of the field this week includes Ludwig Åberg and Scotty Scheffler. Ludwig's fighting a knee issue. According to his doctors, he needs another week to rest before the PGA Championship. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, Scotty expecting the birth of his first child, him and Meredith. Congratulations to them. No other major changes to the field this week. Very cut and dry for what to expect from Quail Hollow. I talked to my friend Austin, who was actually at the Monday qualifier that you were at over at out in Huntington. He says that the course has been playing pure. He played on it a couple of times prior to coming up for his qualifier. He had talked to the head pro there. It's very typical conditions that you usually see at Wells Fargo. It isn't quite the level as what you saw at the President's Cup last year. But it's still very much in tip-top condition. Is there any? Do you have any experience at Quail Hollow or have been there? I feel like you have. I feel like you said you have.
No, I have not been there.
Never mind.
So also, just to give, just so we we also have the Myrtle Beach Classic this week.
Oh yes, of course. How can I forget the alternate event Myrtle Beach Classic at the Dunes Club in Myrtle Beach?
Well, just so you know, our good friend Mickey Demorat was in a playoff for the final spot.
Oh wait, was he in the McGirt playoff?
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I saw Monday Q Info was covering that, and like Will McGirt like had his kid on the bag, and it was like a nice story. I didn't realize it was against Mickey. That sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, Will's a nice guy.
Oh yeah.
I definitely do feel for Mickey though, because I wanted to see who got in. Brandon Berry, Brian Davis, played with him before. I actually played my first ever professional event with Brian Davis.
Really?
Yep, Braden Thornbury and Will McGirt. Mickey didn't get in, but I mean he's been playing well. I spoke to him on the phone a little over a week ago, and
Nice.
he's been doing well. So he's been doing a lot of Mondays. He seems happy. It sounds like he's happy with the progress that he's made. And I told him, I was like, you're going to get into one of these. So unfortunately, it wasn't this week, but still, out of 54 guys to go out there and to finish tied for fifth, actually really tied for fourth, tied for fourth. That's very, very impressive. So Mickey, we're proud of you.
Really hoping that you probably won't be around because you'll be getting ready for Q school. But I definitely want to go to the KFT event out in Jersey in August. Would love to go and see if Mickey will be around for that.
I'm gonna try to Monday into that one.
Perfect. Then when you do Monday into it, snaps to that. Knock on wood. I'll be covering it too, which will be great. And pretty sure it's like right by KB, so we'll be able to have a little party.
Sure.
And if you need a caddy, let me know.
No.
You know, it's funny. So Bones is also a part of the NBC broadcasting group. He'll be on course. I've made jokes with you in the past of like, oh, I'm gonna like ride your coattails and I'll like do your management and your social media and
dead
whatever
serious
it is.
about it. Let's be honest. You want to do it.
Yes. But equally as much so, I'm also making the joke to myself of one day I will be your caddy. I'll caddy for you for about 15 years, and then I will transfer my skills as a caddy to CBS or NBC or ESPN, whoever will have me, and I will then do on-course analysis following groups.
Basically, you want to be my caddy, ride my coattails, and then leave me after 15 years for a less stressful, cushier gig. Where's my benefit? And where do I benefit in this whole thing?
You're a PGA Tour golfer. Suck my ass.
This transactional love. Like,
you're a PGA Tour golfer. And look, let's be honest. Every guy with like even now, right? Jim Furyk split up with Fluff. It's been 27 years they've been together. There's always going to be a breakup. I love you, but I'm not married to you.
I would break up with you first. Whatever. Anyway.
I know you would. So like, let's be honest. 15 years is also like kind of pushing it. I think you'd be done with me well before that.
One start is pushing it.
Come on, you and me are we're like Joel and Gino. We're inseparable.
I wouldn't go that far. I love you. I do. You know, I'm gonna be at your wedding. You know, I'm gonna probably cry happy tears. You know,
Bro, you're gonna cry. That's so sweet.
Nah, I'm kidding. I won't. Honestly. I'm definitely gonna twerk. That's for sure.
Oh well, yeah. That's for fucking shit, sure.
But you will not be carrying my bag
ever.
No.
The firm never apparently. That's a damn shame. All right. Well, regardless. Yeah, no. So the Myrtle Beach Classic, the first time we will play golf in Myrtle Beach this week at the Dunes Club, actually was a golf course that I was going to have my bachelor party at when I was originally going to go to Myrtle Beach. I was going to play that in September, which would have been freaking sick. But instead I'll be up in Cape Cod. Anything of note going into the Wells Fargo, or is there anything you want to touch on going into the Myrtle Beach? Anything of substance?
Yeah, why Rory McIlroy is the betting favorite for the Wells Fargo. I mean, I just think this is ridiculous.
Is he the defending champion? I think. Or no. It's Wyndham Clark.
Yep, that's correct.
Because Wyndham Clark then won the US Open later on. Yeah, okay.
Vegas loves themselves some Rory McIlroy, man. Let me tell you. I don't know, man. Like on a more serious note, I mean, I'm definitely looking to see what some of the guys who've kind of underwhelmed this year can do this week. Specifically, Victor Hovland. Who else was it that I want to talk about? Jordan Spieth has kind of had an underwhelming year. I think those two in particular. Will Zalatoris, he's kind of cooled off, and those greens in particular are very difficult to putt on. Very, very difficult. But it's also a ball striker's paradise. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he plays this week. Obviously, the back is always a question with him. Just sounds to me like he hasn't gotten to the root of the problem, which is pretty scary to think about. And Max Homa, he had that really good finish at the Masters. Can he continue to ride that momentum as well? He has won this event before. It was actually his first ever tour win, I believe. Pretty iconic celebration, might I add, when he made that putt. I think it was like a 6-footer. And it was I think it was raining too. Just a really cool moment. But he's had a little bit of a down year. So let's see how he plays. This is the time. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This is major championship season. This is when the guys who are elite should be able to separate themselves from those who aren't. It's kind of like that saying, week 9, 10 of the NFL season. This is when the contenders separate themselves from the pretenders. We're going to see in a couple weeks, who's really having a good year and who's really not, because we already have some preconceived notions as to who's been playing well and who hasn't. And that we're getting into the heart of the calendar where the elevated events pick up, the major championships pick up clearly. And so it'll be interesting to see, can Rory, right the ship, can Homa, play a little bit better. Can Xander close out a big win, which he hasn't done in a while? There's a lot of question marks for some of those bigger guys. So, this is where you can, those bigger names can say, no, this is not a lost year, or maybe it is a lost year for some of them. So you never know.
I totally agree. And also what's very compelling, and I'll segue this into our beer money chatter here, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. The interesting thing about the Wells Fargo Championship is that a lot of players have notched their very first career win at Quail Hollow.
Anthony Kim did.
A very challenging golf course, but Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, Wyndham Clark, Ricky Fowler, Anthony Kim, first career win, all came at Quail Hollow, sponsored by Kenwood Beer. Who is Kenny? He's smooth, he's clean, he's bright with a taste to boot. Kenny's a routine choice of folks who want a balanced, flavorful, and no frills beer that's right for any occasion. Only 120 calories and 8 grams of carbs. Some call it the best light beer they've ever had. We just say you can't beat the original. Head to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny tracker to find where you can get your hands on some ice cold, refreshing Kenny's from your favorite liquor stores in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, as well as the Wells Fargo Center and beyond. Must 21 years plus to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly for those gambling. Please gamble responsibly as well. Also, just got some new merch in from Kenwood Beer. Check them out, kenwoodbeer.com. Like I said, a lot of guys have earned their first career victory at this golf course. Might we see another one? Who knows? Top 20 for you, Ben, this week at the Wells Fargo.
Oops, sorry. Let me get it.
You're
I was looking at the Monday qualifier leaderboard.
You're all good, brother.
But because I know some of these people, so I've competed against them, so I like to see
yeah,
how the buddies did. Anyway, top 20 for me. I'm gonna go out of left field here. Yeah, maybe not quite out of left field. I like Lucas Glover. I know I've clowned him a little bit before. because he's kind of like the Cam Newton of golf a little bit. Top 20, though, on a course that he's won at, and he has had somewhat of a return to form, I guess you could say, in the past 8 months or so. I think that's a pretty reasonable bet. I think there's definitely a lot of value there for sure.
Definitely.
He's had success on this golf course. He has, and it's a very challenging golf course. It's a ball striker's paradise. And there's one thing for certain: even when the putter's going south with him, he still hits it really good, really, really good. So I like him for a top 20.
That's a great play. Plus 210 for Lucas Glover. I'm going to ride a hot hand going into this week. Has really had a resurgent year. I want to bring up his recent results. I know he finished top 5 this past week at Craig Ranch. I'm going with Ben On this week for another really good performance. It's been up and down for a little bit of the year. He had a great start to begin the year at the Century and the Sony, tailed off for a little bit, top 20 at the Genesis, 2 straight missed cuts, and then a 67 at the Heritage. But top 20s in some big time events at Bay Hill, at the Masters, at the Genesis. I think it's going to continue here at Quail Hollow. I'll take him for a top 20 at plus 140. Top 10.
Top 10. I'm going to stick with good ball strikers here. You know what? No, I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go with Heath Theegala.
I like that.
Yeah.
Big fan. Theegala at top 10 this week, sitting up at a pretty solid number at plus 260. I'm actually going to join you at someone at plus 260, but I'm going to go with a first-time player at this golf course, Cameron Young, plus 260 as well for a top 10. Someone who I think can very well win this event. Like I said, a lot of first-time winners here. Although he isn't my winning pick, you might be seeing a bit of a illusion towards the final pick here. Top 5.
Top 5. This is where it gets kind of tricky for me because, to be completely honest, every single player in this field, I mean, I know it's golf, every single one of them has holes, especially regarding this golf course. Look, I know that Colin Morikawa is tied for 5th in odds, but he's not exactly the most talented ball striker on a course where you have to really hit it well.
Mm-hmm.
And he tends to struggle with his short game as well. So that concerns me. Someone like Justin Thomas, who's struggled, to put it mildly, recently, and really the past year and a half, he has really struggled. I hate doing shoe-in picks, so I'm not going to touch Xander. I'm just not going to. I'm not.
I was debating Xander here, to be honest with you, but I just kind of turned face really quick.
I don't know how. I don't know. I'm not going to touch that play. You know what? I'm going to go with the guy who I've been bullish on this year. I'm sure I've been bullish on him in the past. Tommy Fleetwood. Stick with the ball strikers. I'm not asking you to win, Tommy, okay? Even though I know you're overdue for a win. But if you looked at the leaderboard at 6:30 p.m. this Sunday and you were like, yep, Tommy Fleetwood finished tied for 3rd, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. So I like Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood actually was the first round leader here last year and finished the event T5.
There you go. Even better.
My top 5, again, I wanted to take Xander. I don't know if I can touch that. I'm instead going to take Patrick Cantlay at plus 400 compared to your Fleetwood at plus 5. Again, kind of like a similar build out almost to Xander Schauffele, but just a little bit more length, which is what you kind of need here at this course. Also, he plays exceptionally well at Fazio design courses in the past, so I'm really kind of bullish on a guy who likes to play a certain designer course. This will fit his game quite well. Your gimme pick before we get into our winners.
All right, my gimme pick. This one's tough for me. I mean, I want to go with something. You know what? My gimme pick, Rory McIlroy, finishes outside the top 10 this week. I'm not. I can't give him much credit for a team win. And I don't know why Vegas has like such a hard on for him with these odds every single week. He hasn't had a good year. Like, and I just think look, I understand he's won at this course. I understand he's had success on this course. I understand like when Rory's right, he's one of the best players in the world. But at the end of the day, like he has not been right, and he's really struggled. His attitude hasn't been good. He looks very rigid when he's out there, and I'm just honestly like, I'm not really excited about him really competing at the top of the leaderboard this week. So that's why I'm going to say he's going to finish outside the top 10.
So I'm going to ride. This is interesting. His last 6 showings at Quail Hollow, not including Major Golf, he finished 4th. He's finished, hold on. He's finished 4th, 21st, 4th, missed the cut, and 14th last year. I'm going to take him for a top 30. I think it's a shoe-in pick at only -110, so like you're basically getting even money out of this. One of those guys who got his first career win here. Ricky Fowler, top 30. Resurgence for Ricky. Even though he's done dick all year. Hey, look, you know what? You play well on one golf course, it could change the course of the year for you pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
Again, Ricky's 14th place finish here led him to get up towards the U.S. Open and get that win in Detroit the week after. So that's where I'm riding here. Your winner at the Wells Fargo.
I've been very bullish on this player as well, and he has not won on the PGA Tour. But damn it, his time is coming. He went to school in the great state of North Carolina at Wake Forest. Cameron freaking Young, baby, breaks through at one of the indisputable,
undisputed,
whatever,
it's the same word.
Oh, okay. Obviously, I didn't go to Wake Forest. You can tell. Indisputable courses where first-timers have thrived. And I think he's just as talented as all of those guys. So,
are you making this pick off of my point, or are you making it because you've had this in the pocket for a little bit?
I've had it in the pocket for a little bit. I just think, like, given the history of this event, I truly believe it's, for whatever reason, this place has just had a lot of first-time winners. It has, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like this kid, especially because he has ties to the state, because he went to school there. That also does play a little bit of a factor. He might feel more comfortable. So I really would not be surprised if he won. And that's why I'm picking him.
I'm curious, actually, if he's played here in the past. I feel like he probably has.
Oh, he had to. Yes.
Yeah, he had to have at some point. So there's a funny little thing called irony, and I love that you're taking Cameron Young here. I took him for top 10, so I'm not taking him here. But it's like I bring up first-time winners on the PGA Tour. You happen to pick a first-time winner on the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also picking a first-time winner on the PGA Tour.
Shut up.
I've been waiting. I've picked him, I think, 3 times already this year, and he's let me down every fucking time. I don't even know what number start this is. In his 157th career start on the PGA Tour, Tommy Fleetwood will finally win his first event at Quail Hollow.
Don't do it, Tommy. Don't do it.
It's funny because Ben knows he's down by 5, and he has to read narratives at this point.
I don't even know like how I got to 16, by the way. And how did you count the last 2 weeks? Please tell me you didn't.
No, I have not.
Okay.
I also did fuck all the past 2 weeks. It was so bad.
If you told me that I was going to be down 5 going into
Going into the PGA,
going into the month of May, I would not. I would have been like, you know what? We can overcome this. We can handle this. We just got to run the table like Aaron Rodgers and just do it. I have a chance, people. Okay, I might not have to wear a Spider-Man suit when I play, or a dress, whatever Steve ends up deciding. So
what I will say is this though: if Cameron Young wins, we both win because I took him top 10. Then again, also if Fleetwood wins, we both win too. So like
that's also true. Okay, that makes sense.
So there are multiple avenues here. Basically, at this point, we're betting on Ricky Fowler and Lucas Glover.
When you put it like that, that's not good.
Is it 2014? Like, are we getting transported back in time? I've been saying this whole thing with the Rangers and the Knicks and how like 2024 is basically 1994 all over again. I don't know if I've told you this at all, but like, do you know the parallels between those 2 years?
What?
So in 94, there was a solar eclipse. There's now a solar eclipse in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
OJ went on trial in 94. Now he's dead in 2024. The last category 3 or worse earthquake to hit New York was in 94. Now in 2024. Blink 182 released their first ever album in 94. Now they're releasing their last album in 2024. In 1994, the Knicks won 50 games and clinched the 2 seed. The Rangers won the President's Trophy and swept the first round of the playoffs and started their playoffs 5-0. And the same thing has just occurred again. In 1918 and 94, the Rangers won the Stanley Cup and the Knicks lost in 7 in the finals to Hakeem Olajuwon. But I don't think that the Knicks losing in 7 to the Nuggets to Nikola Jokic is the same kind of situation. So I'm hopeful that 94 is a repeat. And maybe who knows? You know what? It's also 2014. We're betting on Lucas Glover and fucking Ricky Fowler. So what do you know?
So basically the world is ending. That's what you're telling me.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Folks, that's going to do it all for us here. Episode 153 of the Get in the Hole podcast. Be sure to follow us, like us, and subscribe, of course, on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, at Get in the Hole Pod, YouTube at Underground Sports PHI, TikTok, and the like. You can find us all. You can find me on my social media at Real Steve McAvoy, and you can find my friend Ben here on Instagram at BC Pirro. You know, it's funny. I've been realizing we have your name listed as KB this entire time, and I'm just dumb, so I apologize for that.
Wait, no, you didn't. My name on the.
I just changed it. It's because I'm a moron, and it's because they both happen to be the exact same overlay. Whatever it is, I'm an idiot. Thanks you all for joining us this week on Get in the Hole. We'll see you next week for the PGA Championship. Again, like, subscribe, follow us on all of our socials. Thank you to our sponsors. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!